in the first half of 2025. That's more than were killed in all of 2024. You are failing. Amnesty International says you are failing at security. The numbers don't lie.
It's unfortunate, and as a government,
and it's getting worse.
We're working day and night
and it's getting worse.
That situation. I don't agree to the fact that it's getting worse.
How can it not get worse if more people die in 1 year than the previous year?
Context matters.
What's the context?
The context is not getting worse.
What?
Yes.
The context is not getting worse.
The context is that it is not getting worse because you see, this is a water, right?
Okay.
If you have the water half, you could say half glass filled or half empty.
Yeah.
Isn't it right?
Yeah.
So the Western media always see Nigeria, Africa, and some of the activities in Africa as half empty. Excuse me. But we see it as half full because when we look at it, and when I say context matter, before the president took the oath of office, we knew the situation in Nigeria.
And you made it worse.
When he made the decision to take bold step to put Nigeria in better trajectory, we were well aware of the fact that it was going to incense lots of people.
Okay.
We are also
You've
aware.
Made your point. I get the glass half full. I get the context. I also understand basic mathematics. Let me ask you this. President Tinubu only declared a national emergency in November of 2025, brought in a raft of policy changes after Trump declared your country to be a country of particular concern for failing to deal with the threat of Christians. Does your government only spring into action when it is internationally shamed into doing so?
Unfortunately for you, 6 months before that, we arrested the leaders of La Kurawa and Boko Haram. Some months before that, we killed a certain number of terrorists that the U.S. government, State Department, commended Nigeria. The U.S. Embassy celebrated the fact of the exploit of Nigeria before Donald Trump said that.
But again, he shamed you, and you declared a national emergency. You didn't do it before he shamed you.
We declared the national emergency 6 months before Donald Trump's statement.
No, that's not true.
The president
of November of 2025.
No. Much earlier, around I think April or May, the president declared national emergency on insecurity.
But the actual national emergency was in November.
How can it be actual?
People can look this up. Let's talk about kidnappings. The world remembers Chibok in 2014, when 276 schoolgirls were taken by the militant group Boko Haram. Very little has changed, unfortunately, in Nigeria. Just last November, 250 students and staff were kidnapped from St. Mary's Catholic School in Niger State. 2 years into Tinubu's presidency, Nigerian research firm SBM Intelligence said, and I quote, "Nigeria's kidnap for ransom crisis has consolidated into a structured, profit-seeking industry." That's embarrassing for your country that you have a kidnapping industry.
I agree with the fact that the insecurity associated with kidnapping has now become a crisis economy. But much more than that, I know of our government's effort in dealing with that insecurity. If you have a little understanding of the nature and the boundary and the geographical measurement of Nigeria and the tendency for insecurity to come in, then you will understand that we're fighting a hydra-headed insecurity situation. With respect to the kidnapping of children, the government has taken measures already. We've introduced what we call Save the School, where students and schools that are in remote places where there is no security are brought back into state capital where they get the education that they need.
Last question on this. How can Nigerians take Tinubu seriously on eliminating corruption when he appoints someone like Abubakar Bagudu as Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, a man who, according to the US Justice Department, with others, embezzled, misappropriated, defrauded and extorted billions with a B from the government of Nigeria under the dictator Sani Abacha. Bagudu avoided criminal charges. He cut a deal with the Nigerian government, returned some of the money. But the president literally put Nigeria's budget in the hands of a man who's accused of looting billions of dollars.
You started your introduction by saying it's a sovereign country. The decision of the court in the United States does not bind the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
But he gave $163 million. And that man is now in charge of the Nigerian budget. You're okay with that?
Do
you think it's funny? I mean, two-thirds of Nigerians...
You think it's funny?
No, I don't. I think people who are giving $163 million back shouldn't be in charge of the country's budget.
Thank you for your observation.
Okay, but do you think they should be in charge of the budget?
There's no evidence that that minister has misappropriated funds in the government of Nigeria.
Why did he give back $163 million?
To Nigeria or to the US government? To
Nigeria.
Why did the US government give him $100 million?
It's a settlement. That's what you do in settlements.
Okay.
Why was he settling?
So
you're comfortable with a guy who's accused by the US Justice Department of embezzling with the Sani Abacha regime billions of dollars being in charge of the budget?
Are you okay with a president of one of the countries in the world who was convicted by the courts in that land and the person is still governing the country?
Who are you referring to?
No, I'm just asking.
But which country?
Okay, are you also okay? Are you also okay?
Because if it's Donald Trump, I'm a well-known Trump supporter.
Are you also okay? Wait, are you also okay with the prime minister of a country who was accused of making a wrong judgment in an appointment that led to a lot of problem, but he has not resigned, he's still governing? Are you okay with that?
Well, by the time this show airs, he may have resigned. So your argument
now
about
that
Keir
it has come to light,
and Donald Trump, basically everyone else is corrupt. Okay, let's go to...
Created a militia. Tinubu is one of the foremost politicians in Nigerian history.
Tinubu and his people created a militia. Who said those words, Daniel?
Tinubu has helped in strengthening democracy in Nigeria.
Tinubu and his people created a militia, Daniel. Who said those words?
Tinubu brought in leadership skills into governance.
Tinubu and his people created a militia. Who said those words?
Tinubu and his people never created the militias.
So why did you say they did on January 22nd, 2023?
I never said that.
The candidate of all progressive conference, Bwala Tinubu, and his people created a militia. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria we are seeing a political party creating a militant arm leading to election.
Does he have a militia that tried to kill you?
He doesn't have. I never said he tried to kill me.
I myself have received threats from him and his camp. Your words.
I never said that.
There is also this threat to life, and I can tell you that because I myself have received threats from Asiwaju and his camp.
You said it was so corrupt, the 2023 election, Tinubu's win. You said that you couldn't eat food for 3 days.
I never said that. Where?
And legitimate complaints were raised all over Nigeria. That part is what threw me off balance. In fact, I became so sick. For the past 3 days, I found it very hard eating food.
Tinubu is not just super rich. It's what he does with his wealth. In 2019, 2 armored money trucks, bullion vans, were seen going into his house, coming out of his house. Where did that money go?
No. Point. Did you see the money? Or those who reported, did they see money inside the bullion van?
Was there no money in the bullion vans?
How am I to know?
You said it was money in the vans at the time.
I never
2023, February.
But there is only one person in Nigeria who is alleged to have moved money through bullion vans, and that person is on their ballot as the presidential candidate.
On the eve of the presidential elections, 2 cash-laden bullion vans, your words, were seen on the premises, which was ostensibly for vote buying. Your words, January 22nd, 2023. Have you just disowned everything you've said in order to work for this president?
I'm coming. What you just said now, I want to put it on record, on my own honor. That's not what I said.
Okay. You recently described him as a wily political tactician. How does he wield power? Daniel and others have accused him of vote buying in the past. How does he wield power in your view?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to understand the context of Nigerian politics, right? And this isn't specifically about Daniel, because he used to be in the opposition, now he works for the president in the APC.
Well, he used to be in the APC, then he was in the opposition, now he's back in the APC, and he doesn't remember anything he said when he was in the opposition.
And I think the crucial context here is Nigerian politics is ideology free.
Yes.
Right? There's no left or right, as it were. It's mostly, unfortunately, about, people call it stomach infrastructure in Nigeria, and self-interest. And ultimately, if you're someone like the president who, for all his many faults, I think is someone who sees Nigerian politicians for what they are. They are self-interested people. And if you can tap into that, it's very, very easy to get people to come on side. I have a question for Daniel, right? Like, what made you from saying all of those things that you now disavow? What was the grand vision that made you decide, I want to work for this guy?
First of all, I left him after the primaries because he made a choice of a Muslim ticket. And I thought at the time that would be injurious to the interests of the Christian minorities. I made that decision. And I campaigned against him. And after the election, for the next 1 year, I was critiquing policies of the president. But I saw from January right up to December how this president patiently introduced policies and continued to engage Nigerians across all platforms in a bid to push Nigeria forward. I became impressive about it, and I made a choice to do that. Just in the same way that Mehdi Hassan has worked with BBC, I worked with Sky News, then with MSNBC, and then back to Seteo. Evolution of people's life.
Worst analogy I've ever heard in 14 years of doing head-to-head. What are you talking about? Somebody changing their job from one company to another is not the same as you saying he's a corrupt man who created a militia, bought an election, and now I work for him, and I only said that stuff because it was the opposition.
All of the things you said, you couldn't substantiate.
I substantiated all of it.
No, you have not.
Let's go to Aisha Osori from the Open Society Foundations. Aisha, in 2023, on the eve of the presidential elections, you wrote an article calling Nigeria a competitive authoritarian state that barely qualifies as a democracy. What do you mean by that, and what role has President Tinubu played in making that better or worse?
Well, he's done nothing to make it better. definitely our democracy is a lot worse off in 2026 than it was in 2023.
How so?
Well, for one thing, we had a stronger opposition in 2015 when the APC came in, but thanks to President Buhari and now President Tinubu, we have 30 out of 36 states are now APC, which is not necessarily a good thing because that means we have no opposition.
Hello beautiful people, you're welcome to my channel, and if this is the first time seeing my channel, please subscribe and also like this video. Thank you so much. Okay, this Bwala thing is so funny. Like, I just listened to where he was comparing someone changing his job to good governance. Like, it doesn't even sink, does it? Is it, in what way are they the same? Like, you can't compare the lives of people, good governance, people living in good environments, enjoying the benefiting from the government, enjoying the emoluments or the benefits of good governance. You can't just compare them with someone working or changing his work for changing from Sky to Al Jazeera and all that. To me, I just feel this man never prepared for this interview. You know, there are sometimes I think these politicians have to start turning down interviews because it can't continue like this. They can't just go there. Imagine someone going to London and saying all this, something that is obvious, like everybody know what is going on in Nigeria in this age of social media, in this age of technology, that there's nothing ending under the sun, and this man is still saying all this. Like, it's just so funny to me, honestly. And it's like he never knew those things I said were on record. He never knew he said them on the internet, because there's no one that will say things on internet and you feel like it is gone. No, it's not gone. It's on internet, and it seems as if they are not playing those videos. It's like they were not playing it for him. He wasn't seeing them. So it's like it was after the interview that they were playing those videos, because I can just imagine him saying that for the first time, and they played the video and they asked him another question, him saying it, said he never said that, I can't just believe it, honestly.
You started your introduction by saying it's a sovereign country. The decision of the court in the United States does not bind the Supreme Court
Agreed.
of Nigeria.
But he gave $163 million, and that man is now in charge of the Nigerian budget. You're okay with that?
I think
Do you think it's funny? I mean, two-thirds of Nigerians...
You think it's funny?
No, I don't. I think people who are giving $163 million back shouldn't be in charge of the country's budget.
Thank you for your observation.
Okay, but do you think they should be in charge of the budget?
There's no evidence that that minister has misappropriated funds in the government of Nigeria.
Why did he give back $163 million?
To Nigeria or to the U.S. government?
To Nigeria.
Why did the U.S. government give him $100 million?
It's settlement. That's what you do in settlements.
Okay.
Why was he settling?
Yeah, so
okay.
So
you're comfortable with a guy who is accused by the U.S. Justice Department of embezzling with the Sani Abacha regime billions of dollars, being in charge of the budget
Are
today?
you okay with a president of one of the countries in the world who was convicted by the courts in that land, and the person is still governing the country?
Who are you referring
No, I'm just asking.
But which country?
Okay, are you also okay? Are you also okay?
Because if it's Donald Trump, I'm a well-known Trump supporter.
Are you also okay with the prime minister of a country who was accused of making a wrong judgment in an appointment that led to a lot of problem, but he has not resigned, he's still governing? Are you okay with that?
Well, by the time this show airs, he may have resigned. So your argument
now that
Keir
it has come to
Starmer
light,
and Donald Trump, basically everyone else is corrupt. Okay, let's go to our